So now we're going to be doing heart auscultations. The purpose of this exam is to listen to the heart sounds, and you're listening for any murmurs. The normal finding for the sound is it's called S1, S2, which is also known as lub-dub, and it'll be in that normal pitch lub-dub. But you're trying to listen to make sure that there's not any extra sounds like a S3, sound 3, or a sound 4. A sound 3 is normal in children, but it is an abnormal finding in adults. So you're just trying to listen for a lub-dub, but if it's like lub-dub-dub-dub, like do after, then that's abnormal finding. The first thing that you need to do is take a thorough history on the patient and make sure that they have no concerning cardiac conditions, and if they do, just making note of it, any pulmonary conditions, and check their vitals. So make sure that you're checking blanch to make sure that they have the distal blood flow, their blood pressure, their heart rate, and any other vitals that might be necessary for them. The only equipment that you will need for an auscultation of the heart is a stethoscope, so just one of these, and it's what you use to listen to the heartbeat. We will use the bell and the diaphragm, so the bell is the smaller side and the diaphragm is the bigger side, and you'll use both sides to listen to the heartbeats. There are 4 sites for the heart auscultation. You have the aortic, the pulmonic, the tricuspid, and the mitral. So the aortic is going to be in their second right intercostal space. So any direction that I say is what it is on their body, so it'll be opposite when you're looking at the body. So for her right side is obviously our left, and everything will be near or relatively close to the sternum for the aortic, pulmonic, and tricuspid. So you'll feel the sternum, the clavicle, which is 1, go right down a little bit, and you'll feel the second, and then there's a space close to the sternum, and that's the aortic site that we will be feeling for. Pulmonic is actually just directly across the sternum, and it's the second left intercostal space, so it's directly, or at least should be, directly parallel, or not parallel, next to the aortic site. Then you will go down, and on the left side of their body, so if we're looking at it, our right side is the tricuspid location, which is in the 4th intercostal space. So you'll go down about 2, and if your patient has boobs, it's kind of like right, it could be where their cleavage is, like Caitlin, and you'll feel it right in here. And then the mitral location is going to be a little more lateral than everything else, and it's the 5th intercostal space, so you'll go directly below the boobs, and usually they say it's where the sports line is. It's called the apex, so you'll go down and feel in between and kind of have to go up in there and a little bit out, and it's that's the 5th intercostal space that you'll find the mitral at. So those are the 4 locations. You will perform this test both with the patient supine and seated. While they are supine, you will be looking and palpating the heart with the balls of your fist and just feeling for any point tenderness or any lumps in the heart. And then you'll do the 4 auscultation sites with the bell and diaphragm of the stethoscope. And then seated, you will just do the 4 auscultation sites with the bell and diaphragm of the stethoscope. While you're listening for the auscultations, you're going to be listening for cardiac rhythms, the extra sounds, like I said, if they have an S3 or S4, because we have an adult, S3 and S4 would be abnormal, and then any heart sounds that are abnormal, like murmurs or anything like that. As far as education goes, it is very important for the patient to know what their normal heart rate is, anything cardiac that they have going on, respiratory, they need to know about. This can be a part and should be a part of your PPE, just so that you know your athletes' norms, and in case anything arises, you have something to go off of. It's also important for the patients to understand and educate on normal sounds that you find, because referral may be necessary, and cardiac conditions and extra sounds are clearly not anything to mess with. So just making sure that if you hear an S3 or S4 sound, anything like a high-pitched finding, any stenosis or regurgitation that you hear as the examiner is immediate referral. So anything that does not sound like the lub-dub sound is an immediate referral, just to get further examination on. So now we're going to start the supine heart auscultation exam. So you will take your stethoscope and put it on, or actually first we're going to palpate around the heart. So use the ball of your fists and basically just kind of lightly press down on the heart, feel around the area all up and down of the 4 sites, as well as just kind of the general area that the heart is in. And you're basically feeling for if the patient has any point tenderness, chest pain while doing that. Any lumps in the heart that you feel would be an abnormal finding and you would want to refer. Now we're going to listen to the heart. So supine, we will use the bell and diaphragm at the 4 locations. So I'll start with the diaphragm for all of them, and we'll start aortic to pulmonic, tricuspid, and then mitral with the diaphragm, and then I'll repeat aortic, pulmonic, tricuspid, mitral with the bell of the stethoscope. So we'll start at that intercostal space for aortic, and make sure that your thumb or finger is not over the end of the stethoscope, and just listen for a minute or a little bit to hear the heart rates, and you're listening for the lub-dub sound, which would be normal. Good. Now I'm on the pulmonic with the diaphragm. Good. And then I'm going to go here for tricuspid. Good. And then underneath the bra a little bit for mitral. Okay, good. So for all of those, I heard a clear lub-dub, which is good. It wasn't super fast. It was a normal pace. You don't want it to be like lub-dub, lub-dub, lub, like super fast. So now we're going to do the same thing with the bell of the diaphragm. With the bell of the stethoscope. And I'll start at the aortic. And now on to the pulmonic. And move down to the tricuspid. And now to the mitral. So with the bell of the diaphragm, you're more likely going to hear high-pitched stuff off of here. So it's going to be fainter because lub-dub is not as high-pitched, which is a normal finding. But if you hear anything crazy high-pitched with the bell, then that is a concerning finding. So now you'll have the patient sit up normally. And speed this way a little bit. And you'll do the same thing with the 4 sites. You'll listen with both the bell and the diaphragm of the stethoscope. So we'll start with the aortic site. Good, very good lub-dub. Move over to pulmonic. Good. And then down to tricuspid. Good. And then to the mitral. Good. Now we'll repeat it all with the bell of the diaphragm. Good. So our patient had good lub-dub findings with the diaphragm of the stethoscope, which is normal, and so that's good for her. Referral, again, would be everything that was discussed about a sound 3, a sound 4, anything that was high-pitched, or if you heard regurgitation, stenosis. In their vitals, if they do not have a history of hypertension. If they do have hypertension, then that is a referral, just to make sure that they don't have anything going on, as well as in their vitals. If they have a really high heart rate and they normally do not have a really high heart rate, that's also a referral. So you'll be performing this exam both anteriorly and posteriorly. Anteriorly, there's going to be 7 spots for you to look at all up and down the lung field, and posteriorly there's going to be 10 spots for you to look at up and down the lung field. First, you want to make sure that you conduct that thorough history to make sure that you know any cardiac pulmonary disorders, diseases, history of pneumonia, and the norms of the patient before you go in to look at stuff. You also want to take their vitals before, heart rate, respiratory rate, blanch, blood pressure, just to make sure that everything is looking decent on that end. The main thing that you're doing here is listening. So on percussion, you felt, and here you're just going to listen to what the lungs sound like. A normal sound is called vesicular, which is a low pitch, like clear sound that is just a normal breath that you want to hear. Breath sounds that are considered abnormal are ones that can be classified as, if you hear fluid, that means that there could be pleural effusion or emphysema going on. A hemothorax means that there's too much air present. And then you also, if you hear any crackling sounds, anything extra that is not normal is called adventitious. So the crackling, wheezing, ronky sounding, which is snoring, anything like that is considered abnormal, and you should get a referral just to get checked at. Over the trochlea area, you're going to hear what's called a trochleal sounds, which will be a little bit different than normal lung field areas, which is considered normal. It's just going to be slightly different sounding. One thing that you also want to check for is to make sure that their inspiration is longer than their expiration, so making sure that they're taking a full breath in and then a shorter, which is more normal, breath out. The main thing that you're trying to look for is the clear sounds, which is considered the normal. So for this test, you're going to use a stethoscope, and you'll only be examining the lung sounds with the diaphragm of the stethoscope. And like I said, you want to make sure that you take a thorough history before coming in here, just to make sure that you know what their norms are, if they have any cardiac, if their family has cardiac or pulmonary issues going on, and just to make sure that you don't need to refer based off of history and their vitals that you'll take before performing this exam. So posteriorly, just sit that way. You want to do it on bare skin if possible, and you'll go all up and down the lung field at 10 sites and just listen for the diaphragm, and instruct your patient to take a deep breath in and out. Good. And then you'll move to the right side of the lung field, and then back over here. Good. 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 Oh, sorry. Good. Good. And then anteriorly, if you could spin around. Same thing, except there's only 7 sites on the front, but you'll just start at the top of the lung field. Good. Good. Okay, so our patient had normal low-pitched sounding breaths that just sound clear through the diaphragm. It'll just be like a normal breath sound is what you're trying to hear for. No crackling or anything like that. So for this patient, based off of what I heard, I would not refer. if their vital signs were crazy high or abnormal, we would refer, or if there was a concerning history portion that we needed to refer, we could. But like I said, if you hear the adventitious signs, which are the extra sounds, crackling, ronky, snoring, wheezing, anything like that, then you would refer just to make sure that nothing serious is going on.